What's up everybody and welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since we checked in on Tribes of Midgard, which was of course one of my top 10 games of 2021. So with the new season 2, the Serpent Saga recently starting, I wanted to check back in on the game. So in this video we're going to look at what's new, what's changed, and just what that new boss is all about. Now, as mentioned, when we get into the game itself, this is of course the season 2 now, so we have a brand new boss in addition to the old boss that you can still fight. So the old boss Fenrir hasn't fallen away, and you can actually do both of them within one run, which I also attempted my first time while I was recording footage for this, and which is what you're seeing in the background right now. Of course, because it's a new season, there's an entirely brand new track of things that you can unlock, some new achievements which you can also get, and the store itself has a whole bunch of new cosmetics which you can also buy with the in-game currency that is available. Now, the Serpent Saga has Jormungandr as the final boss, which is a serpent, a sea serpent, or basically a huge monster. And so it makes sense then that with this season we are dabbling with, you know, messing with the ocean, so you can build boats from the new shipyard, which you can also craft. There's different kinds of boats in terms of size and of course durability that you can build, and the idea is then that you sail the seas around the mainland and find 3 beacons which you need to activate that eventually gets you access to the lair of the final boss. Now, this is different to what we saw with Fenrir. With Fenrir, you essentially had to go to the hideout. You had all these different activities that you had to do. You had to kill one Jotun, you had to go to the hideout, you had to do one of the main quests. And so when you combine all of those different tokens together, that would actually give you access to Fenrir to attempt to kill the boss. Now, as mentioned, this is different with Jormungandr, and so with that, the idea is basically to build a boat and then sail around, find these 3 beacons. You have to do some combat within these areas and activate these 3 beacons, and they are then in actual fact going to indicate to you where that lair is, and then you can get access to it and fight it. Now, because there's so much water involved in this update, another very important thing that they added with this, and huge bonus for me, let me tell you, is that you can now swim, and more importantly, you can jump down off cliffs into water and you don't actually die from it. So this is of course a huge change, and this was something that caused many funny moments for me on stream but also off stream as I played season 1, where I would guess where I was supposed to run or something like that, or sometimes even get knocked off into those areas by NPCs or monsters. So this is a fantastic addition. Now, bear in mind though that when we're talking about swimming in water, we mean like the little rivers and things like that within the mainland. When you are out at sea and your boat gets destroyed, you fall in that water and you will start taking health damage, and you can die in that water still. So it's not a case of you being able to swim from the mainland to each one of these islands. That's unfortunately not, and I discovered this the hard way, of course. That's of course not an option. Now, from an actual gameplay perspective, it's very much still the same as what you were used to in season 1. So if you were a fan of that, then you'll feel right at home. I have to say, like, I don't know if it's because of muscle memory or because one of the last things that I did with Tribes of Midgard before I put a little bit of a break into it was that I attempted the 100-day survival, and so you kind of like have to play that differently, and especially when it gets to later on and having to kill the giants that you get at those later stages of the 100 days, you kind of learn how to play the game, I would say, a lot better and avoid getting hit at all. And so even having spent weeks to months away from this game, it felt when I came back to it that it was almost in a way easier. Now, I haven't dived through any patch notes, anything like that, to confirm whether that is in actual fact the case, whether the game is easier now. But axes are as strong as ever. It's the first thing that, I just thought, like, you know what, axes always worked really well in the past. I play seer, let me just get axes and do that, and that basically carried me through. Now, the footage that you've been seeing running in the background is literally my first attempt coming back, and I thought, okay, you know what, first things first, I'll go for Jormungandr, get that boss out of the way. And then when I saw I had a little bit of time left and I could still push out Fenrir as well, then I managed to get the 2 bosses in one run kill before we had final night between day 13 and 14. I just made it and actually got out, but overall this was really super pleasant. I managed to kill 4 Jotun as well during this run, and it felt in a way like coming back to home. This is a game that I really enjoyed in 2021. And even though I only played it solo now this way around and didn't try duos or multiplayer, anything like that, so I can't confirm whether this sense of, easier is prevalent in multiplayer as well. it definitely felt not as hard and as sweaty as it did for me in the past playing this game. Now, they've changed some things around when it comes to the shops and which items are available to buy from which vendors. And when I was trying to employ my old strategy of not having to do the hideout and buy the hideout shards, I realized that this was not actually being sold from another vendor. So this is something that's, you know, been a bit randomized up by season 2. And another thing which I also noticed now, this might be anecdotal because I only played once, and so it could be different due to the map randomization, that this might not be a case for you when you try it, is that the shop vendors, in other words, where you can actually sell back items, and this is a good way for you to get an abundance of souls, for instance, when you sell back arrows or something like that, these were only available on islands where I actually had to sail to. So this definitely does make it more important for you to actually mine for souls and mine for the material and everything that you need on the main island that you are on, if you have no interest of building boats, or if you want to delay it to a later, you know, time within your days that you're spending on the map. So that's something that you might want to keep in mind. But all in all, I have to say that this was just, you know, it just felt very comfortable to come back to this world again. We unfortunately, we don't have any new classes to play. And one complaint that I've always had, and this would really be the only thing that I can really complain about this, because I do really like this game, because it is so unique and there's not a lot like this out there, is that I really would like a bigger emphasis on building in the game. I like the shift towards the boats, which you actually have to buy the plan and build the plan and everything, and that's really cool. And I like that there's more than one kind of boat. But I would love the game to sort of just dabble a little bit more into the tower defense side of it, so that you can just, you know, build additional towers or something like that. Now, I understand that that might break the whole concept of having to go back to your base at night and go defend it when eventually your defenses get overwhelmed. But I do think that it would create another way of playing as well, where you could sort of like focus more on, you know, strengthening the base for the first, you know, 3, 4, 5 nights, so that you can then spend the next 5 nights out in the wild and doing everything you want. It certainly would create a tempo difference within the game. And maybe, who knows, that's something that comes down the line, because certainly this is a studio that has shown that not only are they very fond of doing seasonal events, which were great, by the way, the Christmas part as well as the Halloween and the cosmetics that came with that. It's definitely a studio that's very active within the game, and this game has a season model with multiple things within a season that's happening. So who's to say that this isn't something that we can see coming down the line? But I have to say, all in all, I really did enjoy this run that I did, and I plan to go back and do a few more. That's it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it this far. If you liked the video or found it useful in any way, please do consider giving it a like, subbing to the channel, maybe sharing the video with a buddy. It really does help the channel grow, and it would just mean a whole lot to me. But more importantly, it's super important to me that you have a fantastic morning, a great afternoon, and an awesome evening wherever you are in the world. And until next video, fucking cheers.